Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
All right, and we're back. Sorry about that for everyone out there who was not able to hear, some of that. But we are continuing on again doing computer and technology news. And if you wanted to hear any of that and more, please head on over to Computer America. So we are now, of course, moving on to our next story. And our next story, our next story. We have a few, and I like this one. This one is, again, kind of piggybacking off the last one, where growth in places like China and India and other places in other parts, it's very, very important to, to, of course, monitor and to grow in those industries because as they are up and coming, definitely want to be in those markets as they start having more disposable income. And hey, India is a great place to, take note of. And India, while yes, they have a lot of problems, they are, I think, tackling them with a lot of enthusiasm when it comes to technology and the way that technology can help them in a very big way. Those are words coming from the, the country's energy minister. So here we have it. This is an article from Independent and Harriet Agerholm saying that every car sold in India will be powered by electricity by the year 2030. And that is according to plans unveiled by the country's energy minister, saying that the move is intended to lower the cost of importing fuel. And yeah, saying that, they said that it was, they're saying that it would lower the cost of importing fuel and lower the cost for running vehicles. Very important. Saying that we are going to introduce electric vehicles in a big way. And Coal and Mines Minister said at the Confederation of Indian Industry annual sessions in 2017 in New Delhi. So by comparing the drive to a 2015 initiative in the country to reduce energy bills by promoting LED light bulbs, he said that we are going to make electric vehicles self-sufficient, saying that the idea by 2030, not a single petrol or diesel car should be sold in the country. So obviously you have to take that into consideration where they say sold. That does not mean used. Old cars are not going to be, swept up and, scrapped. But they're hoping that by 2030, they will be strictly selling electric vehicles throughout the country. So they said that the electric car industry would need between 2 and 3 years of government assistance, but added that he expected the production of the vehicles to be driven by demand and not subsidy. And I think he's right. We're seeing that with Tesla, where even when the subsidies are taken away, the $7,500 tax credit, not all of the electric cars are, going to be the same level, but we have certain car companies such as Tesla where the sales numbers actually increase. The idea that these subsidies are the only thing powering the electric car market is completely fictitious. So here we have it. This is another quote saying that the cost of electric vehicles will start to pay for itself for consumers. We would love to see electric vehicle industry run on its own. And yeah, this obviously has a lot to do with the pollution rates in India. So an investigation by Greenpeace this year found that as many as 2.3 million deaths occur every year due to air pollution in the country, and that the report entitled Airpocalypse, because everything has to have apocalypse to it. So Airpocalypse claimed that air pollution has become a public health and economic crisis for Indians. It said that the number of deaths caused by air pollution was only a fraction less, and that the number of deaths from tobacco use, adding that 3% of the country's gross domestic product was lost to the levels of toxic smog. 3% of everything that they produce. The money that goes from that is being spent on the ramifications, again, of smog and smog-inducing items. So, India's Yep, and they're saying that India's pollution trends have been steadily increasing, and with India overtaking China in number of deaths due to outdoor air pollution by 2015, saying a robust monitoring system was urgently needed. And yeah, this is not a problem. Like as much as we talk about pollution, smog, and air quality, it's an inevitability for a lot of up and coming countries out there because when you start with, of course, when you start industrializing, the best way to get energy, not everyone is going to have solar plants, wind power, nuclear power right off the bat. But fossil fuels are very, very easy and have a lot of electricity to give. And yeah, something that you can obviously count on. So, Delhi was India's most polluted city, and this was something a report found, with concentrations of particulate matter 13 times higher than the annual limit set by the World Health Organization. So, again, they're saying that the electric car scheme would first target larger consumer centers where populations are at an all-time high. And again, in Delhi. So, to be clear, electric vehicles, they are not, they're not the complete solution to their problem. Obviously, you need electricity to power the cars, to charge the batteries, and, of course, to let the cars run on. But at the same time, it's much more efficient to have a centralized, power plant, power manufacturing, than have, of course, petrol and diesel cars all over the place. They're still going to have to figure out how to make the power plants either solar plants or wind or renewables, biodiesel, whatever. They're going to have to figure that one out. Because yes, you can shift to electric cars, but if the electricity that is being used to charge the cars is still coming from largely fossil fuels, you're just shifting the pollution from one place to another. And again, it's more efficient with the larger technologies, but at the same time, it's not the end all be all of the end of pollution if you just took electric cars into consideration. So, very cool story. And again, really do appreciate how India is able to identify a problem and say technology can fix this. Technology is going to be the way forward. I believe India is the same place. It was either India, Singapore, although I think it's happening in both places. But obviously, India is also working towards a cashless future as well. It's, as I understand it, it's a little bit harder for them because not everyone has access to, debit cards and online banking and things like that. But yeah, they're seeing technology have a lot of promise and they are looking to solve their current problems with technologies of tomorrow. And they're setting themselves up for that. Very, very cool. All right. So now, with that one said, why don't we, of course, move on to our next one? Here, we only have a couple minutes and then we have to go for break. And we'll be right back. But we have enough time to cover this one. And this is a little shocking out there for everyone. Something that you need to be made aware of and you should definitely keep an eye on if you are still paying for cable. If you're still paying for cable or satellite or whatever TV package you may be paying for, well, by all measures and all metrics, it's planning on going up. That's right. So, saying that this coming from DSL reports, and there's a report out saying that the average cable bill may top $140 by 2020. So, at the time when consumers are leaving cable in droves, and they are, saying that the average cable bill continues to climb at a staggering pace. And this by Cut Cable Today, and this is a report by Cut Cable Today, so can't say how unbiased this is going to be. But at the same time, they're saying that if the price continues climbing at the current rate of 8% per year, then the average cable bill will be over $140 by 2020. That's right. So the report puts the climbing price into perspective by comparing to the rate of inflation, which is about 2%. So in other words, the price of cable is increasing at 4 times the rate of inflation. So for everyone out there who does not have a clear picture of what that means, the increase in inflation is, the inflation adjustments are completely normal. They're average. If you accounted for inflation, then your cable package, let's say, costs $100. You increase it by 2%. Now it costs $102. But at the time that it costs $102, it would be the same as costing $100. So your bill really doesn't go up. It just kind of stays the same, even though the numbers go up. If it were to not increase whatsoever, you would actually be getting a better deal on your cable package with the inflation rate going up. So with that being said, for it to go up 4 times the rate of inflation, which again, everything stays the same except inflation, to go up 4 times the rate of inflation, you're paying for something, and it's not just inflation. So what are you paying for? And, the answer is, well, at least the cable companies are quick to pass the blame to broadcasters for the price increase, saying that local and regional programming are really charging them more. And regardless of whose fault this is, the point is consumers are paying more. And as options for non-traditional television, such as YouTube TV, Sling TV, things like that, continue to rise, that's not what customers want to hear. And it kind of seems that way. We have more ways of, we have to break right now. We'll be right back with more Computer America just after this. That's what the music means. So, yep, we'll be right back. And yeah, we'll finish up this report about the cable industry, cable bills, and why it doesn't really make sense. So everyone, check out computeramerica.com for, of course, show notes and video and more. And yeah, we'll be right back with more Computer America just after this. Stay tuned for more here. We'll be right back.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us once again. For anyone who missed the first half hour of the show, please be sure to check out our archives. Right there on Computer America, we of course have the podcast. We'll have everything that you may have missed. And as we continue on, we are just wrapping up this report. Again, can't say how unbiased it is, as it does come from cutcabletoday.com. But they're saying that the average cable bill may increase to over $140 by 2020. Very, very, more expensive. And again, the reason that this seems so out of place is the fact that distribution of content really seems like it should be going down. The cost should be easier. I mean, you of course have a lot of legacy hardware that has to be upgraded, but at the same time, people are getting more and more content from more and more places, and a lot of the infrastructure is already built, it's already maintained, it's already capable of handling what is going on. The 8% year over year increase, or at least that's what is predicted report, it's hard to see where the money is going other than making up for lost revenue, because obviously the technology side, on the infrastructure side, it should be pretty pretty status quo. So they're saying that, to be more specific, as the article continues, this by another report from Consumer Reports, which breaks down some of the price increases we will see through this year. AT&T plans to increase of $2 to $8 a month this year, plus $5 to $6 a month for local broadcasting television fees. So, $6 here, $1 here, $4 there. Doesn't seem like a lot, but hey, when you used to pay maybe $100, that may turn to $110 by this time next year, and then 120, 130, 140, what have you. Those little dollars really add up. So Comcast has already increased their prices by 4%, with local broadcasting fees going from $5 to $7, plus $3 to $5 for local and regional sports. And, many of the others have about the same increase across the board. So many customers are taking this opportunity to finally cut the cord, saying that another recent study predicts that 25% of U.S. homes won't subscribe to traditional cable by next year. So 1 in 4 U.S. homes won't have television. And I got to say, this is not very shocking, especially for, my age group and the younger generation. When you are used to getting your content from YouTube and Netflix and, a lot of these other streaming services, the allure of traditional cable just kind of isn't there anymore. So, they're saying that while services are staying secretive and subscriber counts, it's clear that they're rapidly growing. So, and with Hulu debuting its own live TV service soon and YouTube TV's planned expansion, although YouTube TV, not the best service, pretty good if you like sports, but otherwise not the best service, it's also clear that the cable companies need to figure out a new strategy fast. And yeah, it's you're competing against two different business models, and as dire of a picture as they paint, I think the cable industry is going to be around for a while longer. They just need to adapt a little bit faster than what they're currently doing. They're taking for granted a confirmed customer base that's, again, by all accounts, is quickly aging out of it. They are not grabbing the younger generation, the next group of consumers. They're not getting enrollments as high as they need to be to sustain what they currently are. So obviously something has to change. And right now, in the next couple of years, the thing that's going to change is not cutting costs or, refocusing on the content that is popular, but it looks like the initial change is going to be, of course, increasing by marginal amounts to make up the profits elsewhere. So, all right. And again, that was by DSL Reports. You can find more over on our website. So, all right, how about we move on to another one? And, all right, I like this one. This one is big because we cover net neutrality here quite often. It's a very important topic. It's maybe not the most fun thing to hear about, but it's incredibly important. And whenever you have a new development, you definitely need to know about it. And this article coming from KFGO. And here we have it saying that U.S. Appeals Court will not rehear net neutrality challenge. That's right. So this is by David Shepardson and Lawrence Hurley. And this by Reuters, saying a federal appeals court on Monday, i.e. today, declined to rehear a challenge to the Obama administration landmark net neutrality rules requiring internet providers to guarantee equal access to all websites. That's right. So, the decision by the full appeals court in Washington to not reconsider a 3-judge panel's decision that upheld the ruling comes days after Federal Communications Commission Ajit Pai, who again is the FCC chairman, proposed to undo the 2015 net neutrality rules and reclassified internet providers like public utilities. Again, when that happened in 2015, we were all for it. It did not go over with flying colors. It was something that a lot of people, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, spoke out to the FCC, made comments on, and it had to be kind of rammed through. I mean, it was not an easily won fight. So for this to happen, just the very next administration to take a look at this and go, oh no, this was completely wrong for consumers, when again, it had way, way, way more public support than any other move that the FCC has ever made. It was shocking. But a little bit of hope for people who are hoping that the FCC, previous FCC rules on net neutrality stay in place, and that you need judicial review, and that the 2015 order bars, by the way, for those of you who do not know, the 2015 order bars internet providers from blocking, throttling, or giving fast lanes to some websites. And we're seeing the kind of infant thralls to that, even though it's illegal. We have things like, certain services make deals with other services. Think like Verizon with Hulu, where if you are on the Verizon network and you use Hulu instead of Netflix, then it won't count towards your data plan or your data limit. That's the kind of thing that they were fighting against. That's the kind of thing that they were kind of hoping wouldn't happen, because then you have a pay-to-play system. Right now, it's the internet. If you want to go on the internet and you want to go to Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, wherever you want to go for your streaming video, it didn't matter. The internet, or the internet backbone, the internet providers had to treat everything the same way. But with the doing away with net neutrality, you would do away with that, and instead you would have things such as fast lanes, treating some traffic better than others, making sure it gets through on a priority system rather than just a flat everyone gets it when they get it kind of thing. It would lead to a disadvantage to newcomers, and it would leave an advantage to the incumbent, the people who already have made these and are already in the marketplace. It would kill innovation, essentially. So, at any rate, they're saying that Pi has proposed reversing the reclassification and scrapping internet conduct standards, because, that's something that needs to happen, and has asked for comment on whether the FCC can or should retain any of the rules barring blocking, throttling, or fast lanes. And as you can tell, we here at Computer America, not the biggest fans of that. So, here we have it, saying that the FCC is saying, actually, a note from the judge saying that in a written opinion, reviewing the decision would be particularly unwarranted at this point in light of the uncertainty surrounding the fate of the FCC order, and that the FCC is set to hold an initial vote, and that the validity of the rule that the agency has already slated for replacement. So, yeah, because the FCC has been very clear about rewriting and renegotiating what it means to have net neutrality. So, they're saying that 2 dissenting opinions said that the 2015 order was unlawful because Congress did not grant the FCC authority to reclassify internet providers. And they said that, one of the judges said that the order shows signs of a government having grown beyond the consent of the governed. So, and they said that, of course, there's other dissenting opinions saying that the order violates the First Amendment rights of internet providers, saying that the government must keep its hands off the editorial decisions of internet service providers and to feature and promote all books in the same manner. because, he suggested that the government cannot force a bookstore or Amazon Inc. to feature or promote all books in the same manner. Because again, if Amazon wants to, promote one over the other, they're saying that that's Amazon's right, and they're extrapolating that to internet service providers, where if they want to promote one service over another, that is their right as their First Amendment right to do that, even though, again, because they're reclassified as a utility, as we feel they should be, because the internet is as much a utility as electricity, water, what have you, it makes a lot more sense, this way. So, at any rate, websites like Facebook, Alphabet, which is, Google and all their subsidiaries, and others back the rules, saying that they guarantee equal access to the internet. And again, we see companies who create content, or, obviously Facebook and Google heavily rely on an equal playing field, an even playing field, the status quo. They don't want the internet to diverge into this. Well, are you on Verizon's internet? Are you on Comcast's internet? Because of all these deal makings that can happen, these companies would have to fracture themselves and make deals with every internet provider in the country in order to get their services through. Because, it's great. I mean, if you have these fast lanes, Facebook and Google and the like are going to have to be in these fast lanes while everyone else can be, kind of in the slow lanes. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work and a huge headache, and again, a fracturing between all these companies, and they simply don't want that. So they're saying that, of course, internet providers such as AT&T, Verizon, Comcast opposed the Obama order, saying that it made it harder to manage internet traffic and discouraged investment. Although you think providing a quality service in hopes of acquiring new customers would be the incentive, but okay. So they're saying that, a lot of different companies said that the decision was a blow to those who want to take away open internet protections, raise prices, and cut off the streaming revolution. And that is, again, referring to the current FCC wanting to strip net neutrality from the courts. So, at any rate, very contentious. We think it's a great thing that the U.S. Appeals Court refuses to hear about it, although it seems like their reasoning behind it was more to the tune of, well, why do we have to hear about it? Why do we have to discuss it if you are simply going to do away with it here shortly? And, pretty good argument. But hey, whatever keeps it in place longer, we are certainly happy for. All right. Now, why don't we move on to this one from Engadget? Great publication. Definitely check them out. Engadget.com. And yeah, why don't we talk about a bit of a leak? And we see these leaks all the time. A lot of companies have these product leaks, and at some point, you just have to kind of call them what they are. They are promotion. Because when you say, this was leaked out, a lot of news organizations, including Computer America, we can't help ourselves, they say that, hey, check out this leaked, secretive, you'll only hear from us kind of product. And at the same time, yeah, I think Fitbit wants people to know about their new product that they're going to eventually bring to market. So here we go. Saying that Fitbit's upcoming smartwatch and wireless headphones leak out, and that the company's troubled smartwatch looks very retro. And if you're watching the video portion, you can see a picture of it here. Looks pretty good. Not gonna knock it. It's square watch face, digital display, of course. Again, obviously a 3D mock-up, a 3D rendering, not a true finished product. So, but pretty classical. So here we have it. This coming from Engadget, Mr. Devendra Hardawar, and saying that we've heard the Fitbit was having trouble. You can say that. Developing its upcoming smartwatch, but based on a batch of leaked photos obtained by Yahoo Finance, it looks like the company is making progress. And they call it Project Higgs, where it's Fitbit's first proper smartwatch. And that last year, Blaze was basically just a fitness tracker that looked like a watch. And in many ways, the new product looks like a refined version of the Blaze, and it swaps out the clunky octagonal design for a more traditional square face. And again, I don't like the square face. And it features a metal unibody case, which adds some colorful accents around the screen. That it does. And sources tell Yahoo Finance that the smartwatch will feature built-in GPS. Makes sense, because again, Fitbit is for exercise and activity tracking. So here we go, saying that it will feature built-in GPS, heart rate monitoring, and a display with 1,000 nits of brightness. So not the brightest, but pretty bright, which you could compare it to the most recent Apple Watch. And additionally, it'll be able to make wireless payments, play music from Pandora, and have around 4 days of battery life. The 4 days of battery life, very impressive. Obviously, people hate having to charge their stuff, only being able to use it for 1 day and having to charge it. But 4 days, very, very cool. Where software-wise, it sounds like Fitbit is sticking with its own operating system instead of jumping on Droid, the Android Wear bandwagon. And unfortunately, it likely won't have the App Store at launch. Instead, you can expect a few apps customized for the device. And I gotta say, this is where I feel Fitbit is making a mistake, because this is something that we've seen a number of times. This is kind of what drove BlackBerry to its knees. When you try to make your own operating system, when you don't take advantage of the Android system or the Apple system, and you go out on your own, it may sound kind of nice having the complete ability to control any and everything with your device. May sound great, but at the same time, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great when it comes to the fact that not everyone is going to jump on board this, and not every software designer, not every app developer is going to port their software for your product. So if you get, you get to the store, you have the option of buying a Fitbit, or you have the option of buying an Android Power fitness watch, and let's say it has about the same capabilities, one to the other, apples to apples, you're probably going to go with the Android one because it has a lot more functionality, because it taps into a much larger marketplace for apps. It only makes sense. And again, I think in the long run, this is going to hurt Fitbit if they don't decide to go with Android. But they're saying that as for those production issues, they're saying that Fitbit had to tweak the device to fix a problem in the GPS antenna, and that the company also had trouble making the watch completely waterproof, a feature that it will definitely need to go toe-to-toe with the Apple Watch. So, while Higgs is certainly the more attractive than the Blaze, it's not exactly groundbreaking. Even a Fitbit employee considers it not sexy or retro-looking. And they're using the term retro-looking as not modern, not new, not innovative. So, Fitbit will also be taking on Apple's Beats X wireless headphones with its own pair, codenamed Parkside. That's right, because, everyone was wild about those Apple wireless headphones. And it'll hang around your neck and feature a slight metallic accent. And of course, we don't know much about the features yet, but based on the leaked images, it looks like a typical pair of wireless earbuds. And given that this is completely new category for Fitbit, they're pretty interested in seeing if the company brings something new to the table. Although odds are, they're going to be, hopefully they're comfortable. Hopefully they are wireless and they connect to your phone wirelessly. Hopefully they have a long battery life, and, hopefully they just work as headphones. You don't need to excel in this marketplace. You just need a good pair of headphones. But So they're saying that while Fitbit smartwatch was originally slated for launch this spring, we are fast approaching past that point. The production delays have pushed it into later this year, and you can expect it to be available in the fall for about $300, where the wireless headphones will likely drop around the same time frame for $150. So very comparable to an Apple Watch and the Apple earbuds. So the company recently laid off 6% of its workforce and is weathering a general downturn in the wearables market. And wearables, that's a market that showed a lot of promise, but at the same time showed very, very quick rates of saturation, showed very quick rates of everyone who's going to get a wearable went out and got one. They're not doing a very good job of persuading people who don't want them that they do want them. And that's a problem because, for Fitbit especially, because if you don't have people who want your product, your sales are not going to, your sales are going to be about the same. People are not going to want to buy them. So there you have it. Again, you can find that at Engadget. And I believe we have time for just one more story, one more important one. All right. How about this one? How about we do... All right. How about we do this one? And saying that SpaceX, you know them. We've talked about them here on the show before. And SpaceX, they have done it again. Always like hearing about their successes because it pushes a lot of the industry, and it pushes Blue Origin, it pushes NASA, it pushes, all the different rocket-based companies out there. It pushes them to do the same, if not better. So this morning, for those of you who did not hear, by the way, this is coming from The Verge, saying that SpaceX has successfully landed its Falcon 9 rocket on solid ground again. And after launching the vehicle from Cape Canaveral, Florida, the vehicle's first stage, the 14-story core of the rocket that contains the main engines, touched down at the company's landing pad called Landing Zone 1, located just off the coast of the Cape. And it's the fourth time SpaceX has landed one of its rockets on land, and the 10th time the company has successfully recovered a rocket post-launch. Very important. So, it happened today, and they were able to launch the military satellite that they got approval for a couple of years ago, and that since this was a national security launch, not much is known about the purpose of today's mission or the satellite's intended orbit. And you can see a picture here, but you can see the GIFs, and the GIFs show the Falcon 9 rocket main, stage 1, coming back down to Earth, falling, and, landing successfully. Very, very cool. So SpaceX used a brand new Falcon 9 for today's launch, but last month the company finally demonstrated it was capable of reusing those old-fashioned, previously used rockets. And that the company launched a satellite for the Luxembourg-based SES using a Falcon 9 first stage that had launched and landed in April 2016. That's right. So they use it next year, they use it again. That's the goal of all this. And that the first stage also landed after takeoff, though it touched down on one of SpaceX's floating drone ships in the Atlantic. And it's not clear when SpaceX will fly its next used Falcon 9, but it's possible we could see previously flown first stages being used for both commercial launches and military missions. Because again, if it's capable of going up, if it's capable of landing again, then there's no reason not to use it. And to reuse it is the end game, is the goal. You save a lot of money by not having to rebuild stage 1 every single time, by not having it just land out in the middle of the ocean somewhere. So eventually SpaceX hopes to use its landed Falcon 9 rockets more frequently and drastically decrease turnaround time from the vehicle's landing to another mission. And last month, Elon Musk said that he'd that he's challenged the SpaceX team with getting a landed first stage ready for flight again in as little. Get this. Again, Elon Musk, his timetables are bat crazy, but he wants the turnaround for setting a rocket up, landing it, fixing it, inspecting it, and making it available to use again. He wants that turnaround time in as little as 24 hours. Seems crazy. Seems crazy if you ask me. But yeah, very, very cool. And again, SpaceX does it again. So folks, we are just out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I apologize for all the technical difficulties that happened earlier, earlier in the show. We fixed most of them, and again, it should be completely fixed in the podcast. If you can go check that out, computeramerica.com/podcast, or just head on over to our website, and it's right there on the menu. Check them out. We'll have them uploaded later today. And everyone, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Computer America. And hey, catch you here tomorrow, hopefully with a lot less difficulties. And yeah, tune in tomorrow. Actually, let me check the calendar here. Tune in tomorrow as we have on Netgear. That's right, Netgear, talking about their Nighthawk router and everything that has to go along with it. So tune in tomorrow, everyone. Have a great day. See you then. Bye-bye.